I never thought my own boss could betray me like this. But when I found my wife's car parked in Michael Harrison's driveway at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday, everything suddenly made sense. My name is Alex, and what I'm about to tell you will show you exactly how workplace affairs destroy not just marriages, but entire careers. Comment below and tell me where you're watching from, because this story proves that sometimes justice finds the most unexpected ways to expose the truth. 6 months earlier, I was celebrating my wife Rebecca's new job at my company, Meridian Financial. She'd landed a position in marketing while I worked in client relations, and I was genuinely excited about us building our careers together. Rebecca was ambitious, driven, and everything I'd ever wanted in a partner. What I didn't know was that her direct supervisor, Michael Harrison, would become the man who destroyed our 5-year marriage. Michael was one of those executives everyone respected, successful, well-dressed, late 40s, recently divorced. He had a reputation for mentoring promising employees. So when Rebecca started staying late for special projects with him, I was actually proud of her dedication. But then Rebecca changed. It started with phone calls she'd take in another room, claiming Michael needed to discuss urgent client presentations. Then came business trips that other marketing colleagues seemed confused about when I asked. Her wardrobe suddenly upgraded to designer blouses and expensive jewelry that her salary couldn't justify. She claimed she'd found incredible sales, but something felt wrong. The weekend work sessions were the biggest red flag. Rebecca would dress in business attire on Saturday afternoons to review marketing materials with Michael, who maintains professional dress codes for weekend meetings unless something else is happening. During our company holiday party in December, I watched them interact and saw unmistakable chemistry. The way she laughed at his jokes, how he found excuses to touch her arm, and how they both seemed to forget I existed whenever they talked to each other. That night, I made a decision that would expose everything. I started documenting Rebecca's stories about work. I noted dates of late meetings, locations of business trips, and details about projects she claimed to be working on. The inconsistencies appeared immediately. A 3-day marketing conference in Chicago that she attended, canceled weeks before her trip. When I researched the event online, none of her detailed stories about the sessions matched the original agenda. Because the conference never happened, I checked our family tracking app, something we used for safety purposes. On several occasions when Rebecca claimed to be at late office meetings, her phone showed residential addresses across town. One address belonged to Michael Harrison. The evidence was mounting, but I needed definitive proof. During one of Rebecca's Saturday work sessions, I drove to Michael's house. Her car sat in his driveway at 2 in the afternoon. They weren't reviewing marketing campaigns. I documented everything with photos and timestamps. When Rebecca emerged at 4:30, her hair was different, and she wore clothes I hadn't seen her leave in that morning. Michael walked her to her car with an intimate goodbye that confirmed my worst suspicions. That evening, Rebecca returned home with detailed stories about marketing materials they'd reviewed and strategies they'd developed. She even showed me hastily assembled documents, clearly created to support her fictional narrative. I realized this deception had been happening for months, possibly since she started working there. Every late meeting, every business trip, every weekend session had been opportunities for their affair. Rather than confronting Rebecca immediately, I decided to gather irrefutable evidence. Over 2 weeks, I documented their meeting patterns, photographed her car at his residence multiple times, and recorded one of their phone conversations. When she stepped outside to take his call, that recorded conversation destroyed any remaining doubt. They discussed not just their physical relationship, but their future plans together. Michael promised Rebecca that once his divorce was finalized, a divorce he'd initiated shortly after she started working there, they could be open about their relationship. Rebecca expressed frustration about maintaining her marriage to me while waiting for him to be available. Then came the most devastating part. They discussed Rebecca's promotion to senior marketing coordinator. Michael admitted that while she was qualified, his recommendation carried significant weight because of their personal relationship. Rebecca laughed and made a comment about earning the promotion in more ways than one. My wife was sleeping with my boss for career advancement, and they were both laughing about how clueless I was. Armed with this evidence, I faced a critical decision. Confronting Rebecca directly would result in denials. Confronting Michael could affect both our careers since he held significant company power. Instead, I chose strategic justice. I compiled everything: photographs, location data, recorded conversations, documentation of Rebecca's false business trip claims into a comprehensive file. Then I scheduled a meeting with Human Resources and Michael's direct supervisor, the Vice President of Operations. The meeting was set for Friday afternoon. That morning, Rebecca left for another weekend work session, with Michael to prepare for an important client presentation. I knew exactly where she'd actually be spending her afternoon. During the HR meeting, I presented my evidence methodically and professionally. I explained I was bringing this forward not for personal revenge, but because it violated company policy regarding supervisor-subordinate relationships and involved deception about business travel and misuse of company resources. The HR director and VP were initially skeptical, but the evidence was undeniable. The recorded conversation alone confirmed Rebecca's promotion had been influenced by their personal relationship, violating multiple policies and potentially exposing the company to legal liability. They immediately initiated an investigation. Michael and Rebecca were called in separately the following Monday for formal interviews. When confronted with evidence, both initially denied everything, but the recorded conversation made denial impossible. The investigation revealed additional violations I hadn't discovered. Michael had approved Rebecca's travel expenses for partially personal trips, and he'd used company resources to book hotel rooms where they'd met during supposed business trips. Within 2 weeks, both were terminated. Michael lost his executive role and substantial salary. Rebecca lost her promised promotion and any positive references from the company. Their workplace affair had cost them everything professionally. Personal consequences followed immediately. I filed for divorce right after their terminations were finalized. During divorce proceedings, evidence of Rebecca's affair became part of the record, significantly affecting our settlement. Rebecca attempted reaching out multiple times, claiming her relationship with Michael meant nothing and begging to rebuild our marriage. However, the recorded conversation, where she discussed her frustration with maintaining our marriage while waiting for Michael, made her current claims impossible to believe. Michael's divorce, which had been progressing smoothly, became significantly more complicated when his ex-wife's attorney learned about his affair with a subordinate. The affair demonstrated a pattern of deception that affected their custody, arrangements, and financial settlement. 6 months later, I learned Rebecca and Michael had attempted continuing their relationship after leaving the company, but unemployment stress and legal complications destroyed whatever connection they thought they had. They separated within 3 months of being fired. The affair that was supposed to advance Rebecca's career and give Michael his perfect new relationship had destroyed both their professional and personal lives. Today, I work for a different company where I've been promoted twice in 2 years. The experience taught me valuable lessons about trust, evidence, and handling difficult situations with integrity rather than emotion. Rebecca eventually found employment at a smaller marketing firm, but the circumstances of her Meridian financial termination follow her professionally. Executive background checks reveal why she left her previous position. Michael faced even greater challenges rebuilding his career. Executive positions require thorough background checks that reveal the circumstances of his departure from his previous role. His reputation in our industry was permanently damaged. The most important lesson I learned was that betrayal often reveals itself through small inconsistencies if you're paying attention. Rebecca's stories about canceled conferences, her unexplained wardrobe upgrades, and her suspicious weekend work sessions were all red flags I initially ignored because I trusted her. Trust is essential in relationships, but blind trust becomes dangerous when someone actively deceives you. The tracking app, the inconsistent stories, the residential addresses. When she claimed to be at the office, these weren't coincidences. That if you're experiencing suspicious behavior from a partner, document what you observe and trust your instincts. Sometimes the truth is exactly as devastating as you fear, but knowing the truth is always better than living in deception. The recorded conversation was the smoking gun that exposed everything. When Rebecca laughed about earning her promotion, in more ways than one, while discussing her frustration with staying married to me, she revealed the calculated nature of her betrayal. This wasn't a momentary lapse in judgment. It was a deliberate, ongoing deception. Michael's promise to Rebecca about being open once His divorce was finalized, showed they'd planned a future together at my expense. They weren't just having an affair. They were building a relationship on the foundation of lies and betrayal. The justice in this story isn't just that they were fired and their relationship failed. It's that their own recorded words became the evidence that destroyed the very thing they thought they were building together. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have confronted them directly or taken the strategic approach I chose? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please subscribe. For more true accounts of betrayal and justice, remember that healing from betrayal takes time, but it's possible to rebuild your life stronger than before. Justice doesn't always come immediately, but truth has a way of revealing itself. When you document the evidence and handle the situation with integrity, the workplace affair that Rebecca and Michael thought was their secret path to success became the very thing that destroyed both their careers and their futures. Sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people face the consequences of their own choices. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we explore another true story of betrayal, evidence, and unexpected justice.